everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic installment of the Business Video Marketing Summit. I know you're probably getting tired of me and my high energy and my, all this madness coming at you, but every day I get more and more excited at the guests that have volunteered to come on and speak to you today. Today we have, today's no exception. Today we have Jill Addison, who has joined us from San Diego to talk about video marketing and how to increase and enhance your SEO using your video. So I'm very excited about today's conversation. There's nothing that I could say that would do her justice, so I'm going to let her introduce herself to you and give her a little background. Jill, are you there with us?
I'm here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Sure. Yeah, this is fun. This is my first Google Hangout.
Ooh, exciting. Well, you're doing well so far.
Well, thank you.
You got the lower third and everything. So, Jill, for some of the audience that hasn't met you before, isn't familiar with your work, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm an online video producer, and so I help small and mid-sized companies make a personal connection with prospective clients through short online videos.
And how did you get into, give us a little bit of your background. How did you get into this?
Well, I've always been in communications. I have a degree in public relations, and so I had a PR position, and then as part of that, I did a recruiting video, and I thought that was really fun, and so I kind of put it in the back of my mind. I should remember that if I get burned out on PR. Well, I did get burned out on PR, and so I thought I want to get into video. So I was looking around at video production companies to apply at. And then at the time I was working for a nonprofit, and they decided they wanted to produce a feature film, and it was targeted toward women, and they wanted a woman to produce it, and they asked me to do it. So that was so that was such a fantastic opportunity. It was a 20-month project, feature film, and it's now been translated into over 100 languages and shown all around the world. So
this was a PR video or recruiting video?
No, actually it was a feature-length film. It was a narrative film.
What was the film about?
It's called Magdalena, and it's about the story of Christ's life through the perspective of a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any film experience before engaging in a project like that, or was it just the one video you had done before?
It was just the one video.
No kidding.
Yeah, so, basically, it was like, being a producer on a feature film is like being a project manager, and so it's not like I had to have all the skills. I just had to find the people who had the skills and manage the project and the timelines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was a fantastic opportunity for me to learn all about it by just diving right in. And we partnered with a production company who had produced many, many feature films, and so the experience came from them. But I got to actually travel to different parts of the world and do research with women about which stories resonated with them the most, and then we incorporated that research into which stories we chose to tell.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting about the project manager part of things, because I went to college wanting to be a film producer and creating short films. Indie films. Never really wanted to work in Hollywood, but wanted to work on the more edgy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was good at product, at managing different parts, and that's what I do now as a business owner. So you don't need to. Business owners, would you agree, don't really need to be experts in video marketing as much as knowing where to find experts in video marketing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, especially because I think video, almost more than anything else, is so time-consuming, and it's just not something that business owners can afford to really do themselves because they got a business to run, And so I think it's so much smarter to just outsource your video marketing, so that you can focus on your core competencies and let the video get done by people who do it all the time and can give you some leverage in that.
Now, where are some good places outside of hiring people like you? Where are some good places where, they can find outsourcers? Craigslist, maybe? What are your thoughts on that? For someone just getting their feet wet, maybe not ready to hire on somebody in a bigger capacity, what are some entry-level resources that these guys could use?
Well, if they're not really ready to hire someone and not ready to spend the money to hire someone, then really they are probably going to have to do it themselves and do it with in-house staff. So at that point, I think it's good to just start with some really simple videos that you can shoot with your phone. Just get some video up on YouTube. Have your own staff shoot it, and if you just buy a lav mic, like if you do a Kodak ZI-8, one of those little cameras that has an external mic jack, buy a lavalier mic to put it on yourself so that you can get good, clean audio. That's really the key, because your video just becomes unwatchable if your audio is bad. So you got to get a good lavalier mic. You can buy it with a Kodak ZI-8 or some other small camera that make sure it has an external mic jack so you can use that microphone that you're going to invest in. And then just start shooting your own videos. And as you go, you'll learn, you'll learn from your mistakes. I created something called the Do-It-Yourself video package, especially for this kind of thing. And it basically it's just a membership website where you pay $97 and you get access to 5 videos that cover scripting, shooting, editing, uploading to YouTube, and optimizing for search. And it's material that you can move through the whole package in less than 3 hours and just get some training to shortcut the learning curve so that you can get up and running without wasting a lot of time and money by making all these mistakes.
So what are those 5 points again that the video series covers? It's
scripting, shooting, editing, uploading to YouTube, and optimizing for search. So it's really simple, and then you also get like 7 downloadable documents that are script templates and what to wear, and just everything you need to jumpstart your video marketing if you're going to try to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You can shortcut the learning process. So people can get that at DIYvideopackage.com if they're interested.
Let's talk about those 5 aspects and maybe unpack those a little bit without giving away too much that you cover in your product there. With scripting, do you believe in scripting or outlining, or are you a seat of your pants type of person? What would you recommend?
I think it really depends on your personality, what you feel most comfortable with. And that's what I always ask my clients. Like, do you want to read from a teleprompter so you know exactly what you're going to say? Do you want to have it that tight and dialed in? Or are you more comfortable being more spontaneous and conversational and natural and just kind of having some bullet points to work off of? And sometimes you can just print those bullet points out in like 60-point font and just hold them up next to the camera, as close as possible to the camera.
Yeah.
And so it looks like you're looking at the camera, and just like use those to cue off of and just talk. So it just depends on what you feel more comfortable with. I feel more comfortable reading from a teleprompter, so that's what I usually do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel more comfortable with a teleprompter because I'm big on scripting, and if I want to say something, I want to say it the right way and not necessarily stumble through it. But I have also done those just kind of wing it videos. Those are more of my Google Plus videos. Do you think it matters where the video is being shown?
No, I don't really. But I do think that the type of content is really important, because what I've found is when it's a promotional video, I think it's more important to be really dialed in and have it word for word, because you need to have thought through exactly how you're going to talk to your prospects and how you're going to position yourself. And it's harder to do that off the cuff for most people because they feel all selly.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing a how-to video, or if you're doing like answering a frequently asked question, or it's material like that where you know it like the back of your hand, then it's really easy for most people to just wing it, just like talk to the camera without any notes about those kind of things, because they're super familiar with that content.
What's interesting too is that's where I think a lot of people get really nervous is, what am I going to say to the camera? What am I going to say to the camera? And it's like, what would you say to a prospect?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that how-to videos really are one of the very best ways to get some video content, because you know how to do the stuff in your business, and so you just explain how to do it. It ensures that it's valuable content because people are looking for how-to videos. And how-to videos tend to rank higher than almost any other kind of video because everybody's looking that up. I mean, I found, because I always upload my clients' videos to my YouTube channel to give them a little extra boost and to show my work and stuff. And the one video that's ranked higher by far than any other video on my site is a how-to video about how to make fused glass jewelry. And it's gotten over 12,000 hits.
Wow.
Yeah. And the average video on my site gets like 200 or 300. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, then it helps to have a popular YouTube channel then, yeah?
I think it does. Yeah, that's what I've noticed is that as I've uploaded all these videos to my YouTube channel, it's like it started to snowball because I got more views and more views and more views cumulatively. Now I'm up to like 60,000 views, and now it's like people are finding me more and more and more because I have a lot of views. It's like your YouTube channel has a gravity, and as your planet gets bigger, the gravity gets stronger and stronger and starts attracting more and more people to you.
That makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about shooting a little bit. What are some best practices and tips that you would recommend for shooting?
Well, like for instance, right now, we're shooting this Google Hangout, and I'm basically facing a window. So I'm facing a big window. It's not actually big enough. I'd like it to be a little bigger. But if it, you want to sit in front of a really big window, face the window, and put the camera at the window facing back at you. And what that's going to create is a big soft light source that's going to wrap around your face and be flattering. So that's a free, easy way to get great lighting for your videos.
What about lighting? Let's say that you're in a house, you don't have the window accessibility. What type of lighting would you suggest that they use on a real basic level? Something they could find around the house, maybe, or would you say go out and buy something?
I think it's better to just move to a room with a window. Every house has windows. Just go to where there's a window. That's going to give you the best lighting.
Well, the window has the sunlight provides the right type of light as well, and not every light bulb, like I've got a yellow light bulb in here that actually makes my face a little bit more red, and today I'm going to go buy another one for the exact same reason, because you want to have that softer, that cooler, excuse me, that cooler light versus that warmer light because of the flattering effect. So, what about tripods and cameras and positioning? What type of shooting, because we're talking mostly about talking head videos here, right? What type of tools should someone bring to the set? You mentioned a mic. What kind of cameras? iPhones are okay, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think if you're just starting out and you're going to do it yourself, I would definitely start with your iPhone or, whatever smartphone you have, because all of those are shooting HD footage and it looks fine. It looks great. And so there's no reason for you to become a video production company. Just use what you already have because it's going to do a good job.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like we talk about content marketing and how everybody should be a content marketer. But that doesn't mean you have to develop all the content yourself. You know what I mean? You as a company, you're a dental office, or you work at a chiropractor's, or maybe sports therapy. Obviously, we do a lot of health and wellness over here. You don't have to be the video marketing crew, but you've got varying levels of videos, right? Like you can do some on the iPhone. You can hire out for some. What kind of videos would you say you could do in-house, and what kind of videos would you say you would hire out for?
Well, the #1 video I would say you probably even should do in-house is testimonials, because it's okay if it doesn't look professional. In fact, it can even be an advantage because it looks more genuine, more authentic. People, they can tell that's a real person. That's not an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks amateur. That's okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing about testimonials is it's the one thing in marketing that you can never, ever overdo. You need so many testimonials, so just build that into your business process that at the end of every engagement you get a testimonial from that person. You already have your little iPhone or your smartphone with you. Just get a testimonial from every single client and upload it to your website. Because when you think about it, like if you go to somebody's website and they've got 3 video testimonials, then you go to somebody else and they got 10, somebody else has 100, somebody else has 1,000. Which one's going to impress you the most? I mean, you cannot argue with 1,000 testimonials.
I walked into a chiropractor's office. He was actually my chiropractor. This was years ago. And you walk in, and he had written testimonials in little frames all throughout the place. You know what I mean? And I being the skeptic that I am, I still had to try him out. But it's like, well, that speaks volumes.
Right.
So how do you get a testimonial from a client? Walk me through that process. Do you need to get a waiver signed? I run into that a lot where it's like, oh, I got to get, I have to get their written permission or they could sue me. And it's like, hey, pal, if they're going to sue you, they're probably not the best testimonial for you. But what are some of your thoughts on how to capture a testimonial?
Well, to cover that, I mean, the easiest and quickest way to do that is just when you start filming, just have them say this sentence: I give you permission to use this testimonial with no compensation to me.
Love it.
And then you're done. And then for the testimonial, like before you ask them for it, if you can just always preface it by saying something like, have you been happy with the service I've provided? And if they say yes, then say, well, tell me about it. What's made you happy about it? And they'll tell you what did you appreciate the most? What would you say was the most valuable thing about my service or my product? Have them tell you, and then once they tell you, then say, that was awesome. Do you mind if I just get you saying that on camera? Pull out your camera, have them say it again. Boom, you got your testimonial.
Yeah, be camera ready, right?
Yeah, but that's one way to make them not afraid, because a lot of people are afraid to be on camera. And so if you say, you know, just have them tell you what they're going to say before you even ever mention that you want to get it on video. Once they've already said it to you, then they already know what they're going to say, so that's one less obstacle to them saying yes to being on camera.
Sure. Now, why use video for a testimonial and not just ask them to, write you up something? Why is video more effective?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. For one thing, it's easier to get them to do because you can do it with them while you're right with them, whereas everybody gets busy and forgets to do stuff, and the chances of them writing you a testimonial are kind of slim.
Yeah, they got nothing better to do than write you a testimonial.
Right. So I think it ensures that you'll actually get it done. But that's not even the biggest reason. The biggest reason is because when people see a video testimonial, it's the weirdest phenomenon, but they feel like it's a word-of-mouth referral from someone they know.
Totally.
Because when you see someone on camera, on video, you feel like you met them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also more credible because they can tell that you didn't make that up. That's someone who actually did business with you. You didn't write that.
Yeah. It makes you more authentic, I think, too. I mean, yeah, we talk about, I mentioned this the other day with, I think it was with Ethan Boyd of BombBomb.com, and we talked about the parasocial relationship is that when you're looking into another set of eyes, you're actually building a relationship with them, even though it's only one way, which is why, we refer to movie stars by their character names, We're less likely to say, oh, yeah, Kelsey Grammer. We're more likely to be like, oh, Frasier. I know Frasier. And I know I'm dating myself with that analogy, but I just went through like 9 seasons of Frasier for like 2 months. So I was a little binge watching there, but you want to create that with your clients. Would you agree? You want your clients binge watching your video stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And they will feel like they just spent an hour with you.
Yeah. So how do you do that beyond how-to videos? What are some other ways that you personally use videos to grow your business?
Well, I do tips, and tips are always valuable because it provides valuable information. It positions you as an expert. And so I do a 1-minute video marketing tip of the month.
Cool.
Yeah, you can sign up for it at javideomarketing.com. And so it's nice because, gotta throw that in there.
I know.
But it's nice because it's just once a month. I'm not in their face all the time.
Yeah.
It's just 1 minute a month, and I'm giving them really valuable content 1 minute a month. And so it keeps me top of mind. And, it helps people remember me and remember where to contact me because they receive it through email, so it's easy to just reply, like, oh, yeah, I've been thinking I need a video, So that's
when somebody says they need one video, I mean, do you think one video is going to solve the problems, or do you think that's a symptom of a bigger marketing problem? Would you prefer to see them do episodic videos, ongoing videos? I mean, you're obviously your financial benefit notwithstanding. What do you think is the most effective way to use video? Having like one solid whiteboard video, or maybe having a collection of videos to back up that point? I mean, I don't know. What's a good strategy from your standpoint?
Yeah. Well, there's so many ways to use video, and there's so many valuable ways. And so I don't think it's necessarily like this is always best and then this and then this. It just depends on your situation somewhat. But it's kind of like saying, what are the best ways to use words?
Yeah.
Because video is really just a medium for communication.
Right.
And there's so many ways to do it. But I would say that, I think one of the very best ways to use video is to produce a large volume of video and then use it to optimize your website for search.
You do something like that, right? You have something like 25 videos all at once or something?
Yeah. It's like I actually have 2 different packages that are based on this principle. And with both packages, you get 24 videos, 24 1-minute videos, and you cover frequently asked questions in those videos. So the frequently asked questions, it's great because it positions you as an expert in your field. It ensures that you're providing valuable content people are looking for, and it's search engine friendly because these are the questions people are asking and typing into search engines.
Right.
So you make these 24 videos, and I do it where I can either come, if you live in San Diego, I can come to you and film you on camera, and then we do 24 really simple videos, each one about a frequently asked question. We just do we bundle it all into one 3-hour shoot. So it's a super efficient way to get a ton of video content. I mean, it also takes a 3-hour shoot to do one video if you're going to do one really nice overview video. So
exactly.
To get the bulk and the economy of scale, it's great. And then I also have a whiteboard animated video package where you can get 2 one-minute whiteboard animated videos every month for a low monthly rate.
Yeah.
So that's a way to kind of drip out your videos over time and pay for them over time, so it's a little easier for cash flow.
Yeah.
But in either situation, basically you create these videos, put them on YouTube, optimize them for search, and then here's what I did with my website. I took my 1-minute video marketing tip of the month and I dripped them out. I had a backlog of like 40 of them. So I dripped them out to my website as blog posts. I just took the embed code from YouTube, put it in a blog post, and posted it. Not even any text or anything, although you could you could put the transcripts in there and that would help, but I didn't even do that, just the embed codes. Dripped it out every 3 days for 2 or 3 months, and my website just started to climb. And before that, I could not figure out how to get on Google page 1. And as a result of just this strategy, I went all the way from Nowheresville on Google all the way to Google page 1 for 3 of my most competitive keywords. And then I stayed there for a couple months, and now I'm still hanging out on page 1 or page 2 of Google. And this is months and months later, and I still get tons of inbound calls and new business just from being found online. So to me, it's like if you make a video and nobody sees it, who cares? You know, so I think it's really important to structure your video strategy in a way that it's going to help you get found online through search engines.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree entirely. You know, we talk about vanity pieces. You know, the client will come to me and say, I want to do, you know, this amazing, beautiful piece, and I say, well, what's your distribution strategy? And they hadn't even thought that far. And my whole thing is, why do you want a video that you can show your staff?
Right.
You know, I would rather find ways to pay my staff. You know what I mean? Like, so rather than saying, you know, I want a video that does X, Y, and Z, how about I want a video that's being seen at X, Y, and Z, and then back up and find out the best content to show in that environment, something like that.
Yeah, but I do think that just having one overview video can be very powerful and very necessary, because when people come to your website, if you have an overview video on your homepage, you're going to instantly engage them. They're going to feel like they met you in person. They're going to stay on your website longer, which increases the probability of them becoming your client. Plus, that increased time on site is going to help you in search engine results, just because people are staying on your site longer. And the other thing is, now you can take that video, put it on YouTube, and then grab an embed or grab just the link and put that on your LinkedIn profile, which is really, yeah, it's just going to totally optimize your LinkedIn profile so that it's, you know, more professional and impactful than 90% of your competition.
And that's kind of a newer thing, right? Because, you know, I think LinkedIn allowed, they bought SlideShare, and so that you've been able to put slide shares on there for a while, but this new video, is this video feature on LinkedIn kind of new?
It is, yeah, because you used to have to use a SlideShare presentation and upload your video. It was really wonky.
Right.
But now it could not be easier. I mean, you just go to your profile on LinkedIn, and then I think it's in the, I don't know, I can't remember the exact section, but you just click on the upper right, and then it'll say add URL to video, and you just grab the link, put it in there, and boom.
That's killer. And you know, we actually have Ron Nash, who's the In Academy. He's a LinkedIn coach. He's going to be coming on the show next week to talk a little bit about how to use video on LinkedIn. And seeing all these social sites integrate video more effectively, I mean, is just providing a whole lot of opportunity, not only to be seen, but also to repurpose your content, right? Are you guys repurposing it all over there?
Repurposing video content? Absolutely, yeah. Especially webinars. You know, webinars are a great way to repurpose because you record the whole webinar with your PowerPoint or whatever, and then just break it into tiny little videos and upload all those to your YouTube channel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to write the outline in such a way, I mean, or do you just do the webinar and then chop it up arbitrarily?
I just chop it up arbitrarily, but
really?
Yeah, but usually you're covering chunks of information where there's natural breaks.
Right. Right. Yeah. So anywhere there's a segue, you'd make that into a new video.
Yep.
Now, how do you repurpose that? Do you do transcriptions and things like that as well? Do you turn it into social posts?
I know you can do that, but I don't, just because I'm an online video producer, and so video is really my main thing, and so I really mess with trying to turn it into tons of text, you know.
Yeah.
But if you
that's a lot. That can get real complicated too, because it's never, your transcription's never going to be exact. So now you're actually shuffling through it. you know, and kind of doing that thing with it as well. So it's like you said in the beginning is do what you're best at and hire out for the video.
Yeah, but you know what? If you do want to get transcriptions of all your videos, well, if it's scripted already, if you read it off a teleprompter, then you already have a transcript, which is great.
Right.
But if you didn't script it and you want to get it transcribed, here's a great resource: speechpad.com. And
speechpad.com.
Yeah, and they'll do your transcriptions. It's $1 for, let's see, $1 for every 1 minute, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah, that's not bad. You can also use Fiverr. I know you'll find different deals. You know what I mean? In terms of $5 for this much and $5 for that much. But $1 a minute is totally awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do you decide then? Like, you're about to do a webinar, let's say. How do you decide on what content to cover in that webinar? We talked about FAQs. What other advice might you have for that?
Well, if you're going to do a full webinar, then, you know, it needs to have a flow to it, and it needs to have kind of a sales mentality behind it.
Yeah.
And so you need to start off with, you know, building rapport. It's always good to tell your story. And it's even good to tell a story where you struggled and then overcame that struggle. You know, because then that makes you more relatable. It's kind of like the hero's journey, you know, and people will root for you and feel more bonded to you.
I love that. I really want to punctuate what you just said, because that's a key takeaway. We hear a lot about telling a story, but we don't really hear a lot about how to compose that story. So you said tell a story about a struggle? Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, this is the story I tell at the beginning of my webinars. When I started out in my video production career, okay, I had produced that feature film, and then I worked at a couple different video production companies. And then around 2008, right when the Great Recession hit, I lost my job. And so I was like, well, now what am I going to do?
Wow.
And I had just gotten married to a guy who ran his own video production company. And, you know, I had done it, too. I'd worked at these video production companies, and I'd always kind of wanted to try to run my own video production company and see if I could do it, you know? And so I thought, you know what? I've been watching my husband do this, and I bet I could do this.
Wow.
And so I decided to try it, and he helped me. And he gave me all this leftover equipment and taught me how to use it and went out with me on my first few shoots, because I had always been the producer who just hired people to do this stuff, but now I was learning how to do it all.
Yeah.
And so he helped me get started, and I got going, you know, and I made a go of it. But about 3 years into it, and this was about a year and a half ago, I just almost gave up, because I felt like, you know, I've been at this for 3 years and it's not getting easier. And I was looking around actually for other businesses to start. I mean, I was desperate. But then I was talking to a friend who had been super successful selling essential oils online on Amazon.
No kidding.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you can't even imagine. And so I was like, how could I do a business like yours? And as we talked, it became clear. I was like, you know what I'd really love to do, if I could just like find a way to just do videos for people where they just like have a constant need for more videos, and I just like edit these little videos at home, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I want to do. And I'm so glad I decided to just hang in there a little bit longer, because within a few months my business took off. And it's because everything that I'd been learning and building and all the relationships I'd made and all the skills I'd been gaining started to all come together and really work at the same time that video was getting so huge that now everybody knew they needed it.
Yeah.
And so last year, I more than doubled my income. I made 6 figures for the first time in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, you know, so this kind of story shows I've been there, I've struggled, I understand you, I'm not a superhero, but I've also had great successes, and that's why you should listen to me.
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point, and it's actually, you know, it's this, you want to follow, we follow the same strategy with blogging, and we get a lot of our blogging tips from Copy Blogger, and I'll put that in the show notes, in the show notes too. But you want to empathize with your viewers right off the bat and let them know, hey, I get where you're coming from, and I appreciate what you had just mentioned about telling a story, because it makes you more real, it makes you more relatable, and there's a lot of places that you can go with that, right? It's not just a story about how you got started, it's a story about how your product or service worked for you and for a client, or even some of the challenges that you faced with the product. Hey, when I first started using the Vitamita Vegemin, you know, I wasn't able to do this, this, and this. So I thought I'd make a video showing you how to conquer that and maximize your use out of this amazing product, you know, stuff like that. So I think when you take that story mindset, you really can open up a lot of doors, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And so that's definitely toward the beginning of a webinar. After that, I go into basically the big picture of principles of like why video works to help them understand the why and get excited about it and get a vision for it. And then after that, go into more technical aspects like, you know, how to use a CTA overlay and external annotations on YouTube and all this technical stuff that would make their eyes roll back into their head if I started with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But by the time we get to it, they're like, you know what, I'm excited, I can do this. And you know, then they're ready to listen to that kind of information.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you know, if we're talking about the non-video marketer here, we're talking about, again, the dental office. You know, for example, you open up with a story, and then you talk about why your dental office works, right? As opposed to, because you're a video marketer, you're talking about why video works. You're about why the product or the service works and why it's, you know, a unique selling position, right? You use video to position yourself, and you're talking directly to the camera to create that relationship. And do you think that model, I guess I'm asking you rather than just making a statement, does that model work for every other business as well?
You know, here's what I always say, is that I think for people who are providing a service, you are really selling yourself. And so it's very important, you know, people are going to buy from you because they like you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can do it. And so it's really important to bond with them and for them to feel like they met you. And so it's really important to get on camera if you're providing a service.
Yeah.
If you're selling a product, I don't think it's as important. And for both, I mean, for whether you're selling a service or a product, I think it's good to mix up the content. So you're not always doing talking heads. Maybe sometimes you're doing whiteboard animated videos, or sometimes you're doing product demonstrations, or sometimes other people giving testimonials. So it's important to have a big variety of content so that people don't get bored.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it also shows that you've got some diversity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, so that you're not like a one-trick pony. Hey, I sat in front of the camera for a couple hours, and what I love about your model is how many videos you're able to get out there in one standing. And the thing is that, look, for someone new in video marketing, let's just say you bought a T3i package at Costco, you spent $800, you got a camera, a tripod, a lens, maybe 2 lenses. It's going to take you a while to figure all that out. So why do just one video? Sit in front of the camera for 2-3 hours and just go, right?
Absolutely, yes. Batching is so important for productivity, and plus you'll get on a roll. You'll get more comfortable. It'll get easier and more fun, and so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll do the same video twice, right? Because you're like, you do it once and that was lame, and then you do it one more time and it was way better.
Yeah. Also, with video production, it takes so long to set up.
Yeah.
As long as you're going to set all that stuff up, you might as well get a lot done.
That's what I'm saying, and not everybody can keep the room up in their house. I mean, I got 3 kids running around. We have an extra room in our house for our home production. I was talking about it the other day where I just have a plain white wall, I shoot against it, and I always wear contrasting colors. But you know what? My kids open up that room, you know, and we don't have locks on the doors because they might lock themselves inside, and next thing you know, I got lights everywhere and chaos, and my house is like the Muppet Show, you know what I mean? You have to watch out for that sort of thing. So you talked about scripting and shooting. What about editing? What are some of the tips and tricks, software-wise and maybe resource-wise, that we can use to start an editing process? Because I think that's the behemoth. That's the real challenge, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, a few different things. But first, I want to say one last thing about shooting that I've been noticing this entire time. Okay, your camera is set up a little bit below you, so it's like you're looking down a little bit, so it makes you look bigger. My camera was a little bit lower, like this whole time, and so I'm looking up at the camera a little bit, and it makes me look a little bit diminutive and childlike, like, you know. And so it's really important to, so basically I'm like sitting,
I'm playing around over here like, who will buy from me?
Yeah, it's really important to be eye level with the camera because then you look like a peer.
Yeah.
You're on the same level with this person. So basically, right now I'm sitting on my foot just to get a little more elevation so that my camera is eye level.
Yeah. So eye level with the camera.
Yes.
That's the takeaway there.
Yep. Okay, so for editing, I think to keep it super, super simple, it's good to just do videos that you do in one take, upload them to YouTube, and then in YouTube you can actually trim the beginning and the end of the video. There's actually an editor within YouTube. Now, it's super clunky. It takes forever. Like, I have trimmed videos on there, and it took weeks for it to register.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, ridiculous. But if you want to keep things super simple and free and easy, then just do it that way.
Yeah.
iMovie, I've seen a lot. I don't edit with Mac software, but I've seen a lot of videos that were done on iMovie, and it looks so professional. I mean, you know, Mac is so aware of aesthetics that they have beautiful transitions and lower thirds and things that you can just throw in there, and it'll look like you're a pro.
Now, I agree with that. iMovie, see, that's the thing, is that I'm not a Mac user. I talked about this with Amber Ludwig, is that I used to be Mac and now I'm PC, and I like it. I actually like it better, so take that, Mac fans. But I know Mac, and I know Mac really well. What I start to see is that if everyone's using iMovie, you start to see the same lower third. It looks nice, but it's the same lower third as everyone else. You start to see the same transition that everyone else uses. So, you know, and that there's advantageous as you're just getting started. By all means, use the fade and use the lower third. But when you want to start branching out, you know, there might be some other things. Have you ever played with Windows Movie Maker?
You know, just a tiny little bit, not much. I know that it's like iMovie comes free with Mac computers and Windows Movie Maker comes free, or at least used to. Now I think it's a free download on PCs. And so it's like the same thing. I am going to place a bet that iMovie is better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but
it's clunky. Windows Movie Maker is clunky, but it's one of those things that it is available for free. You know, and I think a lot of people are skeptical about getting into video because they think it's expensive. So part of my heart in this whole summit is to get you, the viewer, making videos on your own to see, yeah, you can do this at a low cost, and now, okay, well, now I can spend maybe a little bit of money and increase my product value and maybe hire someone to get some better videos and that sort of thing. Because video is more effective.
Yeah. You know, actually, I was just watching some videos that my husband's hairdresser did, and she wanted some feedback on how they were.
Does your husband call her a hairdresser, or does he say barber?
I don't think he calls her a barber because she's a woman. I never know what the proper term is for that. Is it hairstylist, hairdresser, what? I don't know.
I walked into the room the other day. My buddy, he says, "Oh, I just got my hair cut," and I love my stylist actually. She's real sweet. And I go in and I say, "Who is your stylist?" And all my friends just kind of looked at me. Like, so, I totally know what you're talking about there. So.
That's funny. But anyway, so she had a friend who had a DSLR, which is a really nice camera. It gets a really nice look because it has a shallow depth of field. So that means you're gonna get that cinematic look where what's in the foreground is in focus and what's in the background kind of drops off as a little bit blurry.
Blurry, yeah.
And so they had a friend shoot some videos with this DSLR, and then she edited them with iMovie. And look at this, now we're eye to eye.
Yeah, it keeps moving though because it's got a weak hinge.
Okay. Anyway, and so we looked at her videos, and oh my gosh, they are gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah. Now a DSLR camera, I don't think is very cheap. But if you have a friend who has one who can shoot your videos, you can get amazing video content just shooting it yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? You bring up a good point because DSLR cameras, if you don't have one, any photographer friend of yours has one. You can't really get away with photography without a DSLR. So all of them have, I mean, even the most basic model like the T3i, even the T2i, which I don't even know if it's on the market anymore. These are made by Canon. They all have a video feature on them. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes like professional video producers don't want to use them because I think there's like a 12-minute limit before you have to switch cards, and so it's kind of tricky. But for short video, you don't need more than 12. You know.
No, that's true. You could shoot literally 12 videos in that time frame.
Yeah, and so this hairstylist was using them to just do how-to videos on different updos and stuff like that, which is so ideal because it doesn't require a lot of editing. It's
Right.
okay that everything's very, it's easy content to come up with because they already know it like the back of their hand. It's okay if it's not super polished because it's a how-to video. And it's going to get huge search engine rankings because tons of women are wanting to know, how do I do that hairstyle?
Yeah, stylists and fashion bloggers are some of the fastest growing.
Yeah.
They get subscribers faster and views faster and that sort of thing. And a lot of that's because they're looking for different ways to do the same thing. Well, I don't have that tool or this tool or whatever the case might be. So let's talk a little bit about the content, because what I hear you talking a lot about the content, the how-tos, maybe the deep inside things, how you do things. And maybe these business owners are out there thinking, I don't want to give away all my secrets. My competition's going to kind of find out. So how do you balance giving away the sizzle but not the steak?
Yeah, honestly, I think that's an old paradigm for advertising because what I have noticed and what I've been hearing for several years now is that you literally cannot give away too much.
Yeah.
Because if you give your best stuff for free, your best stuff, then people are like, gosh, if this is what's free, then what am I going to get if I pay for it?
Right.
And even people don't, when they do pay for the whole thing, even if they've already seen that your best stuff for free, they still don't feel like, oh, well, what a ripoff, there wasn't more. They feel like, good, I got the whole package.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great point. And something else, I love that you said old paradigm because I really think it is a new paradigm. The thing is if you don't give it to them, they're going to get it somewhere else.
Yeah, you're establishing yourself as a credible expert, and so you need to give them your best stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and and experts also quote other experts. So I think that if anyone's out there struggling with, well, I don't want to quote anybody else or reveal that I got this tip from somebody else. You got to kind of balance that a little bit because experts quote other experts. When a doctor is writing his thesis paper, he's citing other doctors. And showing that you did research. What are your thoughts on that, on using the work of other experts to validate yourself?
Yeah, I think it's great. And also I think that plays right into the whole idea of association. So
Sure.
when you're quoting other experts, you are associating yourself with them as a peer. And so you're elevating your own credibility, because you're saying, these are my peers, these are other people I've been listening to in my world, and so it elevates you.
Who are some of the video marketers on a national level that you enjoy learning from, or content developers for that matter?
Mm-hmm. Well, James Wedmore, I have followed him a lot. So yeah, it's been good to learn from him. Mike Koenigs, of course.
Yeah.
Koenigs. Yeah, he developed Traffic Geyser, I think it's called.
Yeah, and he doesn't even sorry, Mike, if you're watching this, I don't even think his videos are that great, but his content is out of this world. Yeah,
I know. And that's the funny thing is that, and I've heard other people say this, that a lot of times you look at someone who's super successful and you'll think, it's not even that great, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, that's the difference, is that they did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Completion before perfection.
Yes.
Just get the job done. I've seen some of these pros do their videos. You kind of see the green line kind of around.
Yeah.
It's like you totally know it's there, but again, I'm enthralled by the content, and that goes back to your earlier point about telling a story and making sure that you're relatable, so that you're hooking your audience in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I have to say something about the green line. That's just people that don't know. That's what happens when you have a bad key, when you use green screen and you try to pull it out and you have a bad key and you've got this little green outline. Do you ever watch Bob's Burgers?
No, I know the show, but I don't watch it too much.
Okay. So it's an animated show, and they have some outtakes at the end of one of these episodes, and they show one of these animated characters with a little green line around him.
It's so funny.
Nobody would notice that except video professionals. So it's so funny that they did that.
The media literate person. Yeah, absolutely. And the more you start to do video, I think the more that you start to notice that stuff in television shows.
Yeah.
You start to notice that maybe the actor and professional shows are good at this. That's why we kind of like, ooh, I noticed it. When you see the mic kind of drop in, You know, or you see the eyes kind of go off to the side for a second.
Yeah.
Become more media literate, and it makes movie watching and film watching and video watching so much more fun.
Yeah, I know. And everybody loves movies and loves to feel like an insider in that world. That's why behind the scenes are so popular. But yeah, like that movie Swingers, do you remember that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was shot really low budget. And there's one scene where the boom is like here.
Really? Oh, I have to go back. I haven't seen that in years. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
You know, they make a joke out of it. There was this movie about forgetting Sarah Marshall, I think, and it was actually in almost every scene. They were making a joke out of it. I guess they didn't feel too high quality. They didn't feel too positive about their show. But you know, when you start to become more media literate, then you start to become, you know, more proficient in instructing the people that you hire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just like anything else. You just have to do it and do it and do it and get practice, and then you get better.
Yeah, absolutely right, and that's the hard part. I think that's the part that a lot of people don't want to really maybe grab a hold on to. Is that yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time, you know. But why not get started now?
Yeah.
And be proficient in 6 months or a year or whatever, as opposed to wait a year.
Yeah, and the important thing is not to wait to start until you can do everything. Just start with little simple stuff. Just bite off what you can chew, and chew it and swallow it, and get the nourishment from it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, part of that comes from if you have videos now, just go optimize them, right?
Yeah. And if you have super long videos, like if you have videos of you speaking somewhere, break those into little videos based on the natural breaks in the content and upload all those videos to your YouTube.
That's a great idea. That's absolutely a great idea. Now, if you had to, I've been asking all the guests to kind of initiate a challenge to the audience that is something other than go make a video right now, because that was the first challenge that I got with my first interview.
Yeah.
So, you know, in getting somebody motivated with a bite-sized little chunk, even as something as simple as write a script, what would you suggest? And I know I didn't prep you for this, but what kind of challenge do you think would be helpful for the audience that you could lay down and say, hey, you can go do this today, and it would get them started in video marketing? What would be your challenge for them?
Okay, I have an idea. This is my idea that, and honestly, I think this is the very best thing you can do for your business to just get started with video. And that is, I hope that you have a process, written down a process for how you take your clients through, basically, like I have a process for everything I do for my clients, and then also how I market myself that's tied into every client interaction. So at the end of every client interaction, I connect with them on LinkedIn and ask for a testimonial. I ask them to fill out a customer service questionnaire to see how happy they are.
Yeah.
An anonymous one. What else do I do? Anyway, I have this whole list of things that I do. And I check that list off every time I finish working with a client. What I would recommend is that each person listening to this, if you don't have a process form like that to market yourself that's tied into your customer cycle, do that. And put in that, at the end of every client interaction, get a video testimonial on your phone. And go back and listen to the earlier part of this hangout for how to do that if you didn't catch it. But if you just build that into your process to collect video testimonials and upload them, you will be miles ahead of the game. Some of the best content you can create and some of the easiest content you can create.
I think that's great.
But you just have to get into a habit of doing it habitually with every single client.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The big companies, right? They have this stuff written out. They have a written down process. Yeah. And it cracks me up whenever I go to a chamber meeting or a coffee talk or run into a guy and I say, well, what's your process? And they're like, I don't know, man. I've been doing this for 10 years. I just know how to do it. And it's like, give me a break, man. Like, you've been doing it for 10 years. You should be the owner. I mean, you should be a CEO really by now. You should have somebody else that's doing this for you. Right. You got to have written procedures. And they're going to change. Mm-hmm. But how do you know what to change unless it's written out?
Yeah, and the other thing is, I have heard so many good ideas about things you should do, and I'll forget them if I don't write them down.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, like I remember a couple years ago, I heard you should send every client a handwritten thank you note. And I thought, that's a great idea. And I put it in my process document. So now I actually do it.
Yeah. There you go. So, I mean, I had this phenomenal idea one time, and I forgot what it was.
Exactly.
That's my $1 million idea. It's on a napkin somewhere, and Now some bum over at the bar got it. So I guess that's part of being organized with your process. Jill, you've been so great today. Thank you for sharing some of your insider tips and tricks. And I know we covered a lot today. Definitely not enough that spans all of your expertise. So how do our viewers get a hold of you? How do they find out more about you and what you do?
Oh, well, thanks. Well, definitely you can visit my website, javideomarketing.com, and you can definitely get my tips once a month, so we can keep in touch that way. And for 1 minute every month, you can learn about video and get inspired, and it's just a good touch point,
Yeah.
For us to keep in touch. And then, and then here's something I wanted to mention is that I wanted to give a special offer, and this is just for the people that are part of this video marketing summit.
Awesome.
So yeah, the whiteboard animated video package that I mentioned earlier. We need to talk about how we're going to provide this link, but I do have a link for this that you're going to be able to click on.
We're going to have show notes. We're going to have all this stuff in the show notes, and we'll talk about all the tools and everything that we talked about in the show. We'll post them all below. That way they can just click on the link and go right to you.
Perfect. Okay, so anyway, this whiteboard animated video package is basically where you get 2 1-minute whiteboard animated videos every month for a low monthly rate. And it's a year-long agreement. And for people that sign up for this through this Video Marketing Summit, this is only because of my relationship with Owen that I'm making this available, you get 1 month free. So it's up to $500 value.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to offer that? That's pretty juicy. Those are great videos, though. The whiteboard videos are some of the most popular videos on the web. You could use them for so many different things.
I know. And it's such a hot trend, and it's a rising trend. And, I've kind of got all my processes in place, and now I'm really ready to scale it.
That's awesome.
Which is why I want to give people this special offer, because I want to make it absolutely something that you would kick yourself to miss. I mean, you cannot say no to this offer.
Okay, so they click the link, and then they'll go to a landing page that will explain it in more detail?
Yeah, actually, they'll go to a page where they can see a sample of the whiteboard animated videos. They can watch a little video with me and then enter their email address to get more information. Then they can review all the information, and then if they're ready to go, they just click Add to Cart, enter their credit card number, and they'll get the 1 month free credit, and we'll be off and running.
Awesome. Well, I will post that link in the show notes. Everyone, Jill Addison, wonderful information, great input from an expert's perspective. She's in the field making videos every day, working with lots of different businesses. So I really appreciate you, Jill, coming on and spending an hour of your time with us today. And we want to thank you, the audience, for staying tuned, for watching these trainings. We hope they're bringing value to you, and I hope that you'll join us for the next installment, either coming up right after this or tomorrow, depending on where we place this video in the mix, for another installment of the Business Video Marketing Summit. My name is Owen with VideoSpot. Be sure to tweet us at #BizVideo and look for us at thevideospot.net. All right, stumbled through that one. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.